If you couldn't tell by the amount of pit sweat coming out of me right now, I'm extremely nervous to talk to our guest today. One of the greatest players in college football history, arguably the best individual season for a defensive player in college football history, the Bednarik Award winner, the Nagurski Trophy winner. Let me see if I have this right. 163 tackles, 14 sacks, 29 TFLs, and 6 forced fumbles in a single season. I put up a similar stat line on my NCAA 12 Road to Glory, and it's still in my Instagram bio. Unanimous All-American Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, top 10 in Heisman Trophy voting, which, if you don't know, is pretty rare for a middle linebacker. NFL alum, UFL champion, and he's making his MMA debut here in a couple weeks. I'm very excited to talk to one of my favorite college football players of all time, Scooby Wright. Thanks for joining me, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Connor. I appreciate it, man.
So, Scooby Wright, finding out that this was a nickname was like when I found out Santa Claus wasn't real 2 years ago. How did you get this nickname, Scooby? Because it's obviously the coolest name of all time.
Yeah, no, my college degree says Scooby Wright on it. So it's
Really?
my college degree says Scooby on it. A lot of my other like work certificates say Scooby Wright on it. But my my dad, I'm Philip Wright the third. My grandpa, he's a little guy. He's like 5'9", like on 170 pounds soaking wet. And then my dad, he's a big dude. He's like 6'2". He played guard and fullback. He was like 270, like playing guard and fullback, pulling,
Oh,
knocking dudes
shit.
out. So
Wouldn't
they
want to
always
see
called
him
me.
in the A gap, huh?
No, I still wouldn't want to see him. But so they'd always call him Big Phil and Little Phil. So my dad was like, "Fuck it, when you're a baby, you're Scooby," and then it just stuck.
There you go. Is it still so you still go by it, with all due respect? Because when you're 19, you're jacked up, you're walking around Tucson, Arizona, you say, "My name's Scooby," and I've had
Uh-huh.
200 tackles this year. It's pretty cool. Now, is it still as cool as you venture into your 30s?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't really think about it too much. It's like the way I look at it, it's like your name's Connor, my name's Scooby, and it kind of is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny when like people say like, "Nah, that's not your name," and I'm like, I mean, it kind of is. I
Pretty
mean,
much.
my college degree says Scooby on it, so it's like then you
Did,
say that they can't really say much. So I'm like, yeah, I told you, dog.
does that even take knockback? Like, if you just, I guess you could put whatever you want in your college degree and they'll say it, right? Well, that's all you need to know. If it's on the degree, then that's about as good as it gets, I think.
Well, yeah, there's also some backstory on it too, though. This is how petty I am. There was a professor who was like, "Oh, I'm not calling you Scooby." Or a person when I went to high school, there was a like an admin person who was like, "Oh, I ain't calling you Scooby. I'm not your drinking buddy."
Yeah.
He's like, he would call me Philip Wright the third just to make a point to be like whatever.
Yeah.
But and then in college, there's a professor who kind of said some similar things, and I was like, "Nah, like put Scooby on the diploma. We're not putting Philip. Like that's my name." Because it
Yeah,
just
they
didn't
can't
make
put,
sense. Like Scooby Wright's hanging in a stadium, and you have Philip Wright on the degree. It's like doesn't make sense.
yeah, it's the coolest nickname ever. You kind of just got to roll with it, I feel like, at that point. So as I said, December 13th, very fired up. You're making your MMA debut. So I've followed you for a while. I know you've been training MMA for a couple years now. You retired from football in
Hmm.
2024, I believe. So tell me about your journey into MMA, how you got started with it a couple years ago and what's led, I know a lot of people who train MMA and they never, fully dive in and actually
Hmm.
have a fight. So what led to you getting started in MMA a couple years ago and, all the way up to now where you're actually making your debut?
Yeah. So it kind of I always looked at so I had a strength coach in college. He was big into boxing, martial arts, Muay Thai, and we had a shed at University of Arizona where there's a bunch of punching bags, mats, and stuff. And sometimes dudes would get after it. It'd be pretty fun.
Yeah.
But and then in the off season when I my what was it my junior year, I tore my meniscus and hurt my foot. I couldn't really run or nothing like that. So I would just hit the mitts for conditioning when I was hurt, and that's kind of what got me into it. And then I always just kind of kept going back to it in the off season when I was in the NFL, uh, especially when I could like do my own off season workouts and train Muay Thai 2-3 times a day or 2-3 times a week and have fun with that. Because it's really good for like just the hands or hips and just
Yeah.
learning angles and stuff, especially if you're a pass rusher.
Yeah.
So that just kind of stuck. And then during COVID, I got my blue belt in jiu-jitsu
Damn.
and from 10th Planet San Mateo. And then about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I started going to El Nino Scrap Pack, Gilbert Melendez's gym.
Sure.
He's a really good teacher, a really good coach. And then working with my coach B. Etzler there, and then Coach Escobar, some really good boxing, striking coaches. And then, but this is like the first year where I hadn't have to like stop when I had to get ready for football because I was always like I would train three, four, five times a week, and then I'd always have to leave to go play football. Then it'd be kind of shitty coming back. Then
Yeah.
it's nice like just sticking with the path and not having to worry about that.
Now you can fully focus on it. When you were doing that, throughout COVID, and then you were kind of going back and forth with football, did you know that you like would be fighting eventually after your football career, or was it still something you were doing kind of to stay in football shape?
Yeah, so I thought my football career was pretty much over. Um, I think I got cut by the Patriots in 2019, and then the XFL happened, and then I went to the Fire Academy, and then
Quite
that
a
was
life,
when I
huh?
yeah, I know, and then I was like I was in the Fire Academy, and then I did that, and then I graduated the Fire Academy, and then that was right when that was like right at like the end of COVID and was when the USFL started, and I was like, damn, like do I just go be a firefighter? Do I just go into martial arts and go do that or go back to football? And then I was like you can only play football for so long. I could do martial arts well into my 30s. I was like, I gotta go play with the opportunity that was given, especially just not lacing up the cleats for 2.5 years and getting the
Yeah,
call. Like that was awesome.
yeah. How was that tough? So when you were walking away from football last year, was that was something you were thinking about? Was like, were you excited for this next journey, or was it super tough to make that decision to walk away from football?
Well, when you herniate three discs in your neck, it's kind of makes it pretty easy to walk away.
Not so good,
So
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, no, my neck's good now though. I was getting stingers every time I hit somebody, so I knew
That's
it
the
was time.
fucking worst, right? That's like a underrated injury, and it doesn't
Dogs.
sound like just saying it. It doesn't sound as bad as it actually is, right?
Yeah, no, I remember my last game. I literally got like three stingers in a row. I literally took off all my shit, threw it on the ground, and walked to the locker room. And I was like, I'm done. Like, I
That's
knew
it.
something was up because it was time. Like, I knew I wanted to leave the game to go be able to go have a firefighting career, go do martial arts because I truly love martial arts. I love the growth factor of it.
Yeah.
It's nice, the camaraderie of it.
What are do you see a lot of similarities in like obviously not like the specific practices, but like
Hmm.
training in football for your entire life? How has that helped you as an MMA fighter? Because although I mean, again, I feel like a lot of football players they can maybe dip their toes and do a little bit of training. Um, and you obviously the discipline you learn through football, but have you seen a lot of similarities? Like how has your football career helped you into now your martial arts career?
I mean, when you get used to like being able to power clean anywhere from 275 pounds to 350 pounds, and you're trying to do a mat return on somebody who's 200 pounds. I mean, you can't really you can't that's the biggest thing people talk about, like that explosion of football players and stuff like that. Of
Yeah,
like just like that shit doesn't go away. I mean, you're getting ready
yeah,
to go, especially at like linebacker too. Like you're wrestling with fucking bears in the trenches. Like
yeah,
center climbing up on you. Got to be able to hit, stick, hands off. Keep them away. Use your hands and no leverage and this and that. But like then on the flip side, martial arts really taught me like leverage and how to tackle and stuff and how to really fall, like how to fall safely. Like even if you do get ran over, okay, can I sneak a butterfly guard in there and
yeah,
try to flip them over the top of me, or something like that. Like
yeah.
so just little nuances like that. But you also had to like detrain a lot too, because my first time going into stepping into 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, I think I was 245 pounds, and now I'm walking around 212, 205. So
Jeez.
it's like, you know what I mean? It's like just just the
Yeah.
metamorphosis of it.
Well, I feel like, yeah, it's such a humbling thing. Like when I got done with football, I'm weighing about 240, benching about 400 pounds, squatting 500. And I walk into a jujitsu gym and I'm paired up with a guy who's about a buck 60. And he's just like
Dog.
taking it easy on me and choking me. As football players, you're like I just see red. I could take anyone. And then you walk into the
Yeah.
gym and you're like, this is stupid, dude. I would take your head off on the field. But it is a very humbling experience, right? Well, you said you're 212. What are you fighting at? Are you fighting middleweight?
No, I'm fighting 205s, so it's just I don't want to
Okay.
cut too much. And I think the guy I'm fighting, he's not an overly big dude either, or who knows? I don't know. I think it's his first MMA fight too.
No
But
kidding.
yeah, but he was a wrestler and such. I looked him up a little bit,
There you
but
go.
yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I mean, I train with some of the best guys. My
Beautiful.
uh, my main training partner is this guy named Kyle Clark. He's the number one amateur in the country at 205s and heavyweight. I think
No
this
kidding.
is his second pro fight, and he's on the verge of doing some real big stuff. And then my homie Joe Crop Shop, he fights in the LFA and
Gotcha.
like number one contender. And those are like my two main training partners. So I
Hell
mean,
yeah.
it's either especially at El Nino, like Scrap Pack, like Gilbert Melendez, Nate Diaz, Jake Shields, like that
A lot
family
of
of
heavy
trees.
hitters. Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's either sink or swim.
Yeah. So you got like 3 weeks left. How is this first training camp gone? It's obviously a new experience for you,
Mhm.
but when do you begin to kind of taper down and get ready for the fight?
Yeah, I mean, it's a trip, man, because it's not like football. It's like shit's regimented to the fucking minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're stretching this time pre games here. It's like
Yeah.
no, it's like it's kind of the Wild West, but I'm thankful to have a good group of coaches around me. So it's like I think this will probably be my last like super hard week. Like
Gotcha.
today I did five. I did two 6 minute or six 2 minute boxing rounds, and then I went into 4 4 minute rounds of martial arts, like MMA, like fight simulation, like hitting pads with my coach, and then going for a takedown, ground and pound on a bag, and picking it up, carrying it. And that was like Tuesdays have been like I get anxiety going to Tuesday practices. It's like it's not fun.
There you go. Well, I'm sure. I mean, you're used to it at this point, right? You've been doing it your entire life, right?
Yeah, but at the same time though, it's completely different though. I mean, it's like you talk about like that football explosion. You think about just push, push, push. But like especially like the thing I'm trying to learn right now in boxing. It's like being when you're tired. It's like okay, throw the jab, but don't throw it. Just snap it. Throw the two, but
Yeah.
don't throw it hard. Just like body mechanics stuff like that, and really
Yeah.
trusting the timing of when you're throwing and when to go hard. And that's the thing I'm really trying to hone in on right now. Last couple weeks.
Beautiful. One more thing on this subject. So, as a big MMA fan, I feel like it's a debate. What's the best base for MMA, right? You hear that all the time. But as it continues to grow and get more popular as a sport, you see some guys like an Ilya Taporia now, who's kind of, he didn't have one specific discipline while he was coming up. He's kind of a jack of all trades, right? So, what do you think? Do you think that there's like one that's the best discipline for MMA? Or now, I mean, because that's like you, right? You obviously played football, so that's kind of a
Yeah.
different beast entirely. But it's no
Uh-huh.
longer, like a college wrestler versus, a Muay Thai champion versus a BJJ guy. It's kind of you have to be a jack of all trades. Do you think there's still one that is the most dominant, or would you say was the hardest to master?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you look at UFC, you see Alex Pereira knocking dudes out, striking, and then
Yeah.
you see Gable Stevenson knocking
Oh
dudes
my
out and
gosh,
take,
dude! Did you
and
see
then
that
then
the other day?
dog, that was crazy. I was drilling that today. Oh, like
He's a
like
monster.
yeah, like you see stuff like that, and it's like nah, it's just really just who's able to mix it up the most. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know shit, I don't know nothing. I'm the most casual fan in the world. Like I don't
Yeah,
even want to talk about it, but like
gotcha.
I think it's more so who's able to do the right stuff at the right time, who's able to mix it up. Like me, that's what I always try to think of. Okay, can I do the right stuff at the right time and have the right reactions to what he's given me? I feel like
Yeah,
that's why I love MMA so much because it's the ebbs and flows of like kind of okay, he does this, you do that, and it's like the
yeah.
freedom of following that pattern.
Yeah, no, that's I feel like what you see at the highest level, right? With these guys that are so good at every practice, right? All of a sudden you're exchanging in the kickboxing, then all of a sudden, you see these grappling exchanges. It's such a great sport, man. But yeah, so I'm gonna flip it over and fangirl here a little bit because, like I said, man, like yeah, we're not gonna go upstairs. I maybe have a poster of you somewhere over there. But coming up in high school, watching your story, right, as someone who was under recruited myself, you were like a hero to us, right? Two-star Scoob. Obviously, you obviously have the best nickname anyway in Scooby, but two-star Scoob makes it even better. Can you briefly talk? I'm sure you get asked about this all the time, so I'll be just another person to do it. But can you tell me about what led to that name? Becoming two-star Scoob. going from a 2-star recruit to then, as I said, arguably the best defensive season in college football history. Is that still something that, sounds surreal now over 10 years later?
Yeah, I mean, when did I like? I think it became surreal for me when people start talking about the College Football Hall of Fame and
Yeah.
like when that starts because like Arizona, I think they just submitted my paperwork for that because it has to be like 10 years removed. And I
Wow.
hear shit like that sometimes, and it's like, damn, like that really happened, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I wish my NFL career went differently. I wish I wouldn't still playing or not was still playing. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish I had that experience of playing a little more, make some more money, this and that, take care of people. But like, end of the day, though, it's like I went from nobody to believe in me to have one of the best seasons in college football history. But don't get me wrong, there's a lot of other people's hard work that went into that season along
Yeah.
with me. It was kind of a product of the kind of perfect storm. I mean, I don't think I don't think I could have replicated it at all. I mean, if funny story, I didn't even want to jump. I didn't even the week before I was at University of Arizona when I committed, I was in Boise State. I was at their camp and sitting in Chris Peterson's office saying I want to come here. Like that was my dream school. But something happened where they didn't think I had grades, and I brought my transcripts with me. Luckily, my dad had them, and I was like, "Nah, he's a 3.0. Like he's all
Yeah.
good. Like
Yeah.
someone fucked up." And then he looked at him and was like, looked at the coach who was the recruiter coordinator of that area, didn't match up. And then I was like, "Well, I'm going to Arizona like next week," and they offered me. And I went home and I told my parents, I was like, "No, I'm going to Boise State. Like you guys are crazy. I ain't gonna go live in the desert."
Yeah.
Man, I went to Tucson. All the coaches were sitting there waiting for me. It was like showed me love. It was like end of the day, I was like, "Dad, mom, dad, I'm coming here. I'm gonna
Yeah.
commit right now." They're like, "You fucking idiot." I was like,
Yeah.
"Told you." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah." Like, so it's just I was just very thankful for just the perfect storm of just kind of everything matching up.
Yeah. I mean, two very different places to go to college, right? I'm sure once you get down to Arizona, it's kind of hard to turn them away. But once you show up there, obviously you have a good freshman season. But I think a lot of people who now I'm not saying I played at the highest level, right? But I don't think people who have ever played who haven't played a sport at a high level, they don't realize the impact that confidence has, right? A lot of people confuse cockiness for confidence, but you need such a high level of confidence and self belief to succeed, have any sort of success at any
Hmm.
high level. So, how were you able to have that confidence in yourself as a guy who was very under recruited to then all of a sudden in your second year on campus, you're again putting up these. I mean, even for how confident you could have been, I don't think you could have predicted this stat line, right? Or multiple,
Yeah.
3 sack games. I'll never forget the Mariota strip, dude. That's one of my all-time favorite college football moments. Number two,
Yeah.
Oregon on the road. You just ripped the ball right out of his hands. You probably had 28 tackles that game too. When you were going through that season, are you kind of like, proving yourself right, proving everyone else wrong, or like was that even a factor in your head, if that makes sense? Or were you kind of just doing what you do as a football player, or like were you, had this big chip on your shoulder that you wanted to
Mhm.
prove everyone wrong? That was like the worst worded question of all time, but I'm sure you get what
No,
I
no,
mean.
no, 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 100%. I get what you're saying. It would be so much. In my thing was never so much. I guess it was like proving people wrong, this and that, like having that extra motivation, this and that. But for me, it was always wanting to prove to people who believed in me, right? My high
Yeah.
school coaches, my parents, my trainers, like my family, who said, "Oh yeah, you could go do it." And like, I went to like the Nike Spark camps. I had one of the highest scores like ever as a Spark boy,
Wow.
and which was kind of weird. Everybody questioned my athleticism,
Yeah.
but then so like I knew once I did that, and then I went to like this Nike training camp. I forget I think it was like Michael Hutchins. He was like a 5-star recruit, and then like I went to this USC camp. It was like another bunch of 5 stars. Like I think the dude's name was like Scott Starr, Jabari Ruff. Like these dudes were monsters, and I remember
Yeah.
seeing them in person. I'm like, dude, you guys aren't that scary, and they were a couple of years older than me too.
Yeah.
And so I knew I could hang. I knew I had the skill, but they're always just a little inch or two taller than me. But I don't
Yeah.
know, it is what it is. But it was always just a byproduct of the work I put in, because like when I was in high school, I was waking up at 5:15, getting ready to go to the gym at 5:30 before school, getting ready to go to University of Arizona, my senior high school. So
Yeah.
and even like in eighth grade, I was working out with the high school team, waking up at 5:30, being in the gym at 6 a.m. in eighth grade.
Yeah,
So like,
damn.
there wasn't too many eighth graders that I knew that were doing that. So
Yeah. Well,
so that's
that
just kind of the way it was.
yeah, no, I love that, man. I love because people always talk about like proving doubters wrong. It's like, dude, who cares if someone doesn't believe it? You're always gonna. I mean, you got people hating
Yeah,
on Tom Brady. Like, you'll always find people
yeah,
who aren't gonna believe on you. Like, it doesn't matter what they say. You want to prove yourself right. The people that believe in you right. That's a much
yeah,
more fulfilling way to go about things than to be
yeah.
like, oh, I got to prove the haters wrong. Obviously, going into the next year, right? You have all this hype around you going into your junior year. You suffer a
Hmm.
couple injuries. I know you had
Yeah,
Liz Frank in your foot, right?
yeah.
Um,
Liz Frank torn meniscus.
yeah, what is that like mentally, right? As someone we're talking about how big of a factor, confidence and self-belief plays, and you have like this just
Hmm.
all-time historic year. You're not eligible for the draft, although there's a ton of buzz around you. You're one of the highest rated defensive players coming back that season. And then obviously that year does not go as planned. And then you move into draft prep not being 100%.
Yeah,
How did that affect? Like, how did you make it through that mentally? Like I can't imagine the ups and downs. Obviously, that kind of comes with being an athlete, but going from such high highs to then not being able to play at all. What were you going through that junior season and then into draft prep?
yeah. Here's some lore backstory for you.
There
I
we
don't think
go.
I've ever, I don't think I've ever told the story.
Oh,
Um, I think it was like 10 days before our first game my junior year. I had a heavy set in my percentage of my squat, and I had the team squat record already. Or I
what
think
was
I was
that?
like, it was like five something for the linebacker position group,
Yeah.
but it was like high fives. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna ask my coach if I could go for the record, and he was like, all right, and because I hit it clean, and then I put 640 on the bar, hit that shit, yeah, I hit that shit for one, came up out of the hole. I was like, it wasn't like a struggler, but I hit it like so fast where I came up out of the hole. It was like I remember I racked it and I was like, whoa, like my knee doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And then fucking the first game I tore my meniscus,
Oh,
and I'll never forget the MRI. They were like, yeah, like you already had micro tears in your knee, so like it looked like
shit.
you had like suffered like some heavy trauma recently. Like, did you do anything like abnormal? And I was
Yeah.
like,
Uh,
no. Look, and I'm thinking in my head, fucking 640 pounds, probably a dumb idea. So then after that happens, like I rush to get surgery. Not rush, like wasn't that big of a deal. Meniscus surgery is what it is.
yeah.
Was an ACL, so I was like, okay, I know I can come back, but this is the part where I wish I had a little more guidance. Um, I came back and played in a football game 20 days after surgery.
Did you really
College foot.
not the bowl before? Not the bowl game?
No, I played the first game, then I came back for UCLA 21 days or something after surgery. UCLA college game day was that, yep, was UCLA college game day. It was at Arizona Tucson because we were like we were like top 20. They were like top 10. Huge
Yeah.
game. Like people weren't sure if I was going to play. And I was like,
I'm
I don't want
done.
to say I was pressured. I don't want to say I was pressured to play, but like, motherfucker, I wasn't missing college football
Yeah.
game day, you know? Went into that game. And then I remember waking up, fucking played terrible, was out of shape, just terrible showing. I remember waking up the next day and I like my foot was hella messed up, my right foot, and I was like, why is my left knee? I had meniscus, and I remember like my foot feels so funny. I remember hobbling to facility, foot was all blowing up, and they're like, damn, that's a compound injury. And I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, well, you were putting so much weight on your foot. You're, you're putting so much weight on your foot because your knee was giving out. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So then that's when the Liz Frank happened, and then so
Jeez.
then I got up, and then yeah, and then I was getting ready for kind of just put everything aside, and then was told not to play in the bowl game by some agents, this and that. And I was like, nah, like I'm gonna go play.
Yeah.
And then I ended up playing well in that game, and then getting ready for um, combine prep. I was doing good and stuff. And then I tore my hamstring a couple weeks before the combine, which is bad. And then I came back home to train with my trainer. I was running good, and then I was like getting back to because like the people I was training at in Miami, they were just had me losing weight. They thought like, oh, we're just gonna have Scooby get super skinny and not have him like lift as much and just have me focus on my 10-yard starts.
Yeah.
So then that just kind of went wayside, and then I came back, started lifting again, got strong. I did a mock pro day like a week before my pro day. I ran a 4.67, was clocked at that, and then I
Oh
ran
shit.
another one, and then pulled my hamstring again.
Oh
Fucking then I get to
fuck.
pro day. I was like, okay, like is what it is. I knew it was gonna pull on me. I just knew I had to run faster than a 4.9 because I was
Yeah.
terrible at the combine. And
Yeah.
I think in my pro day I ran like a 4.85. But I remember I finished. This is the crazy part. I remember I finished my 40 for the first time, and then ran back, literally looped around, ran into the training room. I was like, one of our trainers was there. I was like, Doug, I need this shit wrapped. I was like, he wrapped my
Tiger
hamstring.
bomb, everything. Icy
Yeah,
hot, throw it on
yeah,
there.
yeah. And then
Oh,
I ran back out and did my pro day. I didn't even run a second 40
damn.
because it was
Really?
faster than my combine. So I was like, fuck it, is what it is. But I did my whole entire pro day, pulled hamstring. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like that, my combine experience pre-draft was probably like the worst it could have ever gotten. And
Yeah.
then and then I got rhabdo during my pre-combine stuff. Forgot that part. That was a big deal.
Jeez. How rhabdo?
Yeah, have you heard that?
I don't think so. What?
It's where your body gets so much lactic acid and it poisons your kidneys, and you
Oh,
just get like super lethargic, and you just like a lot of like endurance athletes get it when they're like really worn down and stuff.
Jesus Christ. So about as bad as it could have possibly ran, right? As about as Jesus Christ. So
Yeah,
then go
but still got drafted though, so it wasn't too bad.
hell yeah, bro. So what was
Yeah.
that experience like going? Because I'm sure that's a crazy whirlwind of emotions, right? Because you're projected as this, day two guy, right? And then even
Mhm.
as the draft comes closer, you end up falling to the seventh round, but you still got drafted. Something that pretty much no one can say. Everyone that's everyone's dream, right? As a kid,
Mhm.
going up the ranks, playing ball, and
Yeah.
you're able to say that you got drafted in the seventh round. So what is that draft weekend like? Finally accomplishing that dream, although maybe a little bit bittersweet due to the injuries and not being exactly where you wanted to be at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of people coming over to my parents' house and stuff. They're there. So, like, the second night went by, we were like, okay, like, we're just gonna party into the next day.
Yeah, of
So
course.
because we were thinking early that morning and stuff. And then it was just funny because the ESPN crew was at the house, and it was just kind of funny because, like, the fourth round, everybody was near the TV. Fourth round goes by, I kind of go on a walk. Fifth round goes by, nobody's near the TV. Sixth
Yeah,
round goes by, everybody's just in their own areas. And then seventh round goes by, and then I was on the phone with Bruce Arians. Um, they wanted to be the first team to sign me off of free agency after the draft was over. So
yeah,
then that happened. I think like pick like my last couple picks. I was picked 250, and it was like 253 picks that year. And I was like, all right, coach, like cool, I'm coming back to Arizona.
hmm
I was like low key kind of excited. I was like, fuck it, we'll go back to Arizona, let's go.
yeah,
And then I hung up, and then I remember I told like my dad to sit right next to me. And I was like, yeah, it looks like they want to sign me, so I'm going back to Arizona. It is what it is.
hmm
And then like a couple minutes later, Bree, Ohio number comes up and it's hey, it's Sashi Brown, GM of the Browns. That hey, we just drafted you. But it's kind of funny. The two places I didn't want to go was Buffalo and the Browns. So
Why? Any reason specifically? I heard you say that before. Or maybe
yeah,
just because they're not
I
the
don't know. I
greatest
just
franchise of all time. With all due
no.
respect to Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland's just the factory of sadness, man. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not even that like like if you think about the history of it, I mean, like the Browns aren't even the Browns. The Browns are really the Ravens.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so, like and then like I don't know, you just hear some of the stuff like in the ownership and just all the different head coaches, and even now all the media, like
Yeah.
with all this Shador Sanders stuff. It's like I think it's
Yeah.
all bullshit. It's like I don't know. It's just like trying to create the hype, and it's like
Yeah.
they don't keep the main thing the main thing. It's like you look at some programs or not programs, franchises like the Steelers, they keep ball the main thing.
Yeah.
Like OG Patriots kept
Yeah.
the main thing. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people just lose sight of that in professional sports, especially the higher up you get.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Cleveland and Arizona about as too different of a place, different as you can get in terms of places to live. But I've gotten to see that, as a lot of my friends, have gone on and played in the NFL. You kind of get, a pullback of the curtain, right, to how much
Mm,
situation matters, right? I think as a fan growing up, you don't realize that, you kind of think if, you're good enough to play, you're going to play. And especially at a position like linebacker, like,
yeah,
it's so you see these guys that are like, first round picks, second round picks who they just fall in a bad scheme and then, they're out of the league in a couple of years. And then you see guys that are undrafted who carve out a role. Zach Bond on Philly, like he was
yeah,
a special teamer, kind of bottom of the roster guy. He gets a starting role and now he's like one of the best linebackers in the league. It's very like you don't really realize that until you get to see the other side of it. But
yeah.
um,
And then on the other side too, it's like if you're drafted those higher rounds, you could screw up way more than the guy who's a free agent.
yeah,
So it's like if you're a free agent, you might only get like a couple of reps, and if you screw up, have a mental error, it's like you probably ain't getting many reps in next practice.
yeah.
Like, yeah. Like I
Or
remember when
even
I
with
was,
a minor injury, right? You do like
oh yeah,
tweak
you're
something,
cut.
then you're gone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like my linebacker coach in the Cardinals, this was because my biggest thing when I got to the NFL was having to call plays, wear the mic, set the defense, set the pressure, set the front. Because in Arizona, we ran a 3-3-5, and everybody was shit. I shit so fast, you just hit your gap and you kind of just fly around a lot of the time.
Yeah,
That's how that defense is designed. But when you get to the NFL and you're running a true like 4-2-5, you got to set the pressure to the front. As I just said, it's like that was the biggest learning adjustment for me. So
yeah.
like when you like take a step back, it's like that's probably one thing where it's like what hurt me was not having that mental side of the game of being able to be the quarterback of the defense early on in my career.
How do you look back on your NFL career? I always find that interesting, right? I've had a
Hmm.
lot of friends, like I said, who maybe have played for a couple years, and while you're in it, you're not really thinking about how cool it is, what you're accomplishing. Or even, my friends who have played high level Division I football, while you're in it, you don't really realize it. And then, like I said, some guys in the league who have gotten drafted and then they've gotten cut, and while you're in it, you just want another chance. You're good enough for it. So obviously, nobody really ends on their own terms, right? So, but it's one of those
Yeah.
things that it gets a little bit cooler as time removes, right? And you can kind of properly, recognize what you've done. How do you look back on your NFL career now, years later?
Um, I mean, I wish it went different. Obviously, I said that previously, but it kind of just to get the opportunity to kind of just live my childhood dream. I mean, you look up like when I was a kid, they say, "Hey, what do you want to be when you're a kid?" You say, "Oh, NFL football player." Like
Yeah,
I can say I did that. I mean,
yeah,
that's probably the coolest thing where I can say as a young me would have been cool looking back at that. That's probably the thing that I take away from it the most.
And so you obviously played, oh, we got a couple more minutes and then I'll get you out of here. You
No, you're
played
good. You're
obviously in
good.
a bunch of these other leagues, XFL, USFL. You actually played with
Hmm.
my guy, John Wofford out on the Arizona Hot Shots. So we were watching every game of that. I think that was 2018 maybe. But when you're in that, because again, I've seen, a lot of people, again, you want to get back to the league. I don't think people realize how much talent is in those leagues, right? You turn on
Yeah,
a game on Saturday and there's a
yeah,
7-year veteran, there's a first round pick, there's a former 5 star. What were those experiences like? Because again, I don't think people
yeah. I mean,
understand the level of that's being played at in those leagues.
yeah. I mean, when I was in the hot shots, I mean, I really didn't play that much. I mean,
Yeah,
I really didn't play that much. I
yeah,
I was inactive a few games because they didn't have special teams, so that
yeah.
took
Oh, that's
away.
right.
Oh,
That was a weird
so
league, man.
yeah, so that took away kind of how I survived in the NFL.
Yeah,
So I was behind this dude named Steven Baharnas. He played for the Patriots as an NFL vet. This dude Steven
sure. Yeah,
Johnston, he was an NFL vet. And then Niles Morgan, he was a fresh rookie. He was a beast. He's
yeah.
still balling. He's still balling in the CFL to this day.
Damn.
And so it's like we had some hitters,
Yeah.
and and then I got rhabdo again during this training camp during the hot shots. So
Jeez, dude.
yeah, so then that kind of set me aback. So didn't really get the reps I wanted to. But and then yeah, that was a cool group. That was probably one of the more talented linebacker groups I've been around. And then like DeMarcus Gates, he was probably like one of the best linebackers I played with. I played with him on the Stallions. He
Yeah,
was kind of one of those guys where like the ball would just kind of gravitate towards him. It was
yeah,
cool to play
yeah.
with him. And
What
then
so another guy you played with, my man Willie Yarberry on the Stallions. He's a great
Willie, yeah,
a
yeah,
couple
he's a
of
good
Wake
dude.
Forest alum there. One of
Hell yeah,
again, just as a big fan of yours, man, that pick six to seal the deal, I believe that was that in 22 to win that
yeah,
championship. Again, given the again you had kind of a couple years removed from the NFL at that point, but still winning
yeah,
a championship and being the guy at the end of the game. I heard you told a story. I think your hamstring was gone in that moment, right? But
yeah,
I remember
yeah,
watching that. Just such a cool moment. What was that like to be able? Were you won all three titles, right, with the Stallions?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
what's
So
that like? Getting a professional championship.
yeah, I mean, it was just really cool because I mean, especially that first year because a lot of the time, a lot of those guys that were kind of in and out of the NFL when COVID hit, a lot of us had nowhere to go. Like
Yeah,
there was no alternative leagues. Like NFL was really really low key on tryouts, this and that, so it's hard to get back in. But just getting the opportunity to play ball again. I
two
mean,
more for you.
you're
You
good.
talked about your college days. Obviously, the NIL era right now.
Oh,
You're someone who, people always ask me or like anyone who played in a different era about, like, are we mad we missed out in the NIL era? I mean, me personally, they might have given me like, a handshake and a bag of Frito Lay's. You were in a little bit of a different position with, what could have happened in the NIL era. Do you get that question a lot? And is that something that you kind of think you missed out on?
yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I mean, yeah. I wish I would have had a couple of 100K, in
Yeah,
college. That would have been cool. I
yeah,
mean, but at the same time, though, like I probably would have been like Thad Castle at University of
yeah,
Arizona, running around with money like that.
yeah,
But no, I mean, all jokes aside, I mean, who knows? I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids are getting that much money these days. But at the same
yeah,
time, though, you have dudes who are freaking 24 years old in college. That Diego Pavia guy, like, dude,
yeah.
like, yeah, I understand COVID, this and that, but dude, move on. Like,
Get on with it. Yeah, I
you would
agree.
get what you would get waxed in the NFL. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you would get wrecked, or like
yeah,
I don't know. So it's just, but it's more power to him. I mean, I'm not gonna be a hater and be like the unk back here saying, "Oh, back in my day," I mean, I'm happy for the kids. I mean, just
yeah.
it is what it is.
No, it's just an interesting time, man. That's why I asked. Because again, like I didn't even realize how much they're actually making. You see some of these numbers, you're like, holy smokes. But yeah, I think they deserve a piece of the pie, but they got to
Yeah,
do some form of regulation. I know you're a bit
yeah.
of a conspiracy theorist. In 30 seconds or less, can you tell me why mermaids are real?
I don't know. That's more of one to ask my wife. I'm not sold on that one. She believes that one more than me. I'm more on
Okay.
the yeah. I'm not. I don't really have any good conspiracies right now.
No,
Oh,
nothing.
what is it? The cave cities? That's a good one. Have you
Cave
seen that one?
cities. Uh,
Yeah. I just watched a show. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like underground city where it
okay.
was
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Sure.
what was it called? What's it called? But yeah, I think those are real.
Fantastic. I'm gonna do some
Yeah.
research and maybe get back to you. Last one,
Yeah.
December 13th. Tell me what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's a trip. It's a trip. Like I keep thinking about it. It's like I've done a few kickboxing matches and stuff before. I've done a few jiu-jitsu tournaments, but like this is the first time where like I'm gonna go out there and physically try to knock a dude out. So
Yeah,
it's like you think about like kind of side story. Like I was talking to we have this trainer at the gym. He worked for the Raiders for like 12 years, and he's at the gym every single day. He works with all the fighters, and he's been around a minute. And I was talking to him, and he's like, I was like, you don't really like. It's not like football where you sit there and you practice knocking someone out. Like you
yeah,
can practice tackling the bag. You can
yeah.
do that. But he was like, yeah, but at the same time, like, how often do you practice breaking the leg? How often did you practice meeting a
True.
fullback in the A gap? I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, like you think about it, like, yeah, there was, but there wasn't too many true times. So it's just falling back on your training. It's
yeah.
like just that's why you train harder, just to fall back on what you do, and that's why you have discipline and just get those reps.
Hell yeah, man. You're firing me up. Well, man, Scooby, great talking to you, man. I really appreciate you coming on. Best of luck December 13th. I'll definitely be tuning in, but Yeah, man, stay healthy these next couple weeks, getting ready in training camp. And thank you again,
Yep.
man. Best of luck.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. It was a great conversation.